Welcome back to Pro League, guys. It is all tied up thanks to Creator, the only player who can seem to take wins here for Prime. MVP going to be forced to take that fourth match and face the terror of Boom Boom Prime.
He is terrifying, man, in more than one way. But I don't know. Looking at this upcoming match, should be pretty interesting to see who's going to do well, because on paper, Losira should take this, but he's had some rough times recently. Ever since he lost to KeeN in that ZVZ, that was like the turning point, and Losira's just had some crazy bad games since then. Looking at some stats, he was 5-1 for round 1, and the hype was all around MVP. You know, new banded together team, all the old guys, Prime, you know, coming over, doing that and that. Then he went 4-4 in round 2, and now he's 0-3 in round 3. It's just a complete nosedive, basically, from his success from round 1. At the same time, he does get all 6 votes, but that's just because KeeN has proven even less. Well, let's talk about Losira a little bit more here. 9-8, 4-3 versus Terran. Yeah, and he had some weird roach pushes versus Terran that failed. I remember, I think he lost to, like, I don't remember who he was playing against or what tournament, but he like lost to Alive, and everyone was like, whoa, like, how did Losira lose to Alive? Losira's on fire right now. Might have been like Challenger of Star League or something in the first season. And sometimes he just gets a bit too aggressive. He's known for his massive baneling counts in the late game in this matchup. That's where he spends almost all of his gas on. He's a bit lighter on the Mutalisk. KeeN is known for his Hellion harass, man. He's really aggressive with Hellions in the early game. Likes to go sometimes even 2-3 Reaper into mass Hellion. And 2-6 versus Losira. This includes, of course, like all of his Heart of the Storm games. So they played against each other a lot in Wings of Liberty as well. But that was a different time. That was when KeeN was actually really good. Keep in mind, KeeN is actually a former MVP player. He spent most of his career on MVP.
And KeeN recently, he took it had been a while since we saw him, and he had to face Life on Echo. I remember this game still. And he played a great game. He ended up eventually losing to Life, but he looked pretty good against Surge. Let's see if he can bring that kind of skill back overall versus Losira here. The map is going to be Cactus Valley, a much bigger map compared to Echo. It's going to be a 4-player map here. Losira getting all hyped and ready in that booth. Ready to go in this game. Let's go into it with them right now. It's going to be Losira versus KeeN on Cactus Valley. Down here in the bottom right in the teal, our Zerg player, it is Losira.
Bottom left in purple, it's KeeN. Terra looks really good like that, though. And this shot, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's good.
You said it was like freaking you out earlier.
It was freaking me out earlier. Now it's like freaking me out in a good way. With a headset on, that headset style, because you wear hair, you can't put a headset on. Suddenly, next thing you know, you take your headset off. You look pretty strange.
Oh, yeah. We know all about this. We got our own headsets. They like to do our hair all well done. The makeup ladies do a great job, but then we put our headsets on, and all of a sudden there's a nice little valley running right through the middle of our hair-sprayed hair.
Yep. So, always something to keep in mind. You and I have kind of a bit longer hair on the top of our heads, so we can get a bit messed up.
Yeah. KeeN's got a nice style.
Yeah.
Looks very clean cut, you know, maybe a bit of an older style.
Sure. But not so much for him, because he almost never had a style that was different than his original sunglasses deal with it style he had back in the day. If you guys aren't familiar with KeeN's ceremony, look up KeeN SC2 ceremony. You'll find quite a few good ones from his Wings of Liberty days.
Yeah, some of the best.
Yeah,
from SC2 at least.
I see KeeN GIFs posted on other community sites as well.
Oh yeah.
Who don't even know who KeeN is, just because it's so funny the way he clapped when he won. Just the big logo that says "win" and the clapping. It's excellent.
Yeah. Works for a plethora of different situations.
Well, this early drone scout is quite frustrating and annoying, forcing multiple SCVs to be pulled here to deal with this. In fact, gotta be careful. He might have been able to commit to actually killing that SCV. A bit risky, though. So, Orbital now underway has that barracks finally finished. It's slightly delayed, of course. And we do see SCV scouting the incorrect location. You're not used to getting scouted that early on this map as a Terran, so...
Yeah. I wonder why he was gunning for that early scout.
I think the main reason is probably Losira has two different plans for the map based off of scouting. Like, if he scouts early on that it's cross-spawn... Like, okay, so he sends his Overlord to the north, right? And he sends the drone to the left. If he doesn't see anything at either location, he might be going, okay, cross spawns, I can be a bit greedier. The pushes are going to come a bit slower. It's a bit further away. And I think you just really want to know, are we cross spawns or not, ASAP?
It's a nice little committal to very early scouting that definitely can pay off when you're tailoring your builds to it. And looks like we're just going to transition into a bit of a normal one here. We do see Losira does get his gas for now. And put down a pool right after that hatch. So is going to have the Queens out and the Lynx to deal with this first Reaper coming across the map.
The Reaper even turning around, actually. Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
He's going to send the SCV in first. I guess the Reaper's here to just protect the CC rather than try to get any further scouting off, because his SCV is pretty much going to tell him anything he needs to know. These Lings are waiting here so they can try to snipe and kill it. I think KeeN's too clever for that. He knows what's up. Turns around. Those Lings, he was concerned maybe if it was a safer pool first, might come and harass his building CC. So that Reaper is there to protect it.
It's a good idea, especially because he knows that Losira knew exactly where KeeN was on the map. So.
Yep, I knew the exact build as well. Very well said. Well, the factory's about to finish, and we all know how much KeeN loves his Hellions. See how many he commits to this time. He only made one Reaper, because sometimes he goes up to like 3. Does that 3 Reaper Hellion harass a really big commitment to that sort of on-the-map pressure? Trying to snipe an Overlord here, sometimes when you see that, it's like an indicator that we might see like a Hellbat push or something where he's really trying to deny the Overlord, but he misses it here with those 2 Marines.
Yeah. Seems like KeeN committing to 2 more Marines first before he switches onto that factory. I was wondering what the delay was on the Hellions coming out here, but finally we do get them on there, and he follows that up with the starport. Looks like he's only taken 1 gas here, so maybe just a bit of a drop.
Losira is continuing to mine some gas. He's trying to scout here. He's also got a very late 3rd hatch. I mean, he doesn't even have one, and I was starting to wonder, is he going to add something a bit more aggressive? He adds a Baneling Nest now. Because of the lack of scouting, I feel like this is a safety Baneling Nest against a Hellbat push, which, lo and behold, there's the armory. When you see a Marine patrol like that, and when you see Marines to the north, you know, even as like a commentator, as the spectator, as the observer watching the game, you start to get a bit suspicious. I think this could be a very technical build. This could be Hellbats.
Yeah, like why is he trying this hard to keep everything out of my base? Is it going to be a very specific 2-base build, or is it just going to be, you know, very safe macro play? It's probably going to be the risky one that you don't want your opponent to scout. So
the Baneling Nest is very cheap as well. If you don't end up having to use it, so what? You'll use it later anyways. This is a ZVT. So I like that he adds it this early just to be safe. He also added a ton of Queens. 6 Banelings on the way.
Yeah, and he gets them pretty early, too.
He's actually so ready for this. I don't think this is going to phase him much at all.
He's also got 5 Queens on the map here, 4 for the defense right now. Already going to get to work here. The Baneling's coming through.
Okay, good splits, though. Really good splits. Even the lift up here. But look at this shutdown.
Yeah, it was just enough Banelings. The splits didn't even matter. It's just going to push KeeN all the way back. Losira just more than prepared for that. There you go. Holds it off with flying colors.
The supplies right now still fairly similar. Only 4 workers up for Losira. He also spent, you know, a decent amount of gas on those Banes and doesn't have a 3rd hatchery just yet. It's almost done. He's going to finally be able to saturate that, get that larva up. He's adding a ton of drones right now, but this is not like, oh, KeeN got shut down, he loses, because it wasn't a massive commitment. And because Losira committed so much defensively, it's not like Losira was greedy and then held it. You know what I mean? So it's still KeeN not in a terrible spot, especially with these 3 free Overlords it looks like he's about to grab. And Losira is still not even reacting.
Yeah. Looks like he's dealing with this push onto his creep right now, but it looks like it's going to be just 2 Overlords.
Can't land on those cacti.
You don't want to get spiked. So the push continues here from KeeN. Some Banelings in the main to deal with this. Also Banelings at the front.
Vikings continuing to get kills meanwhile. Good splits here again by KeeN. But with these queens with so many transfuses, can even be able to clean up the Overlord hit points. Ooh, that Viking way ahead of himself. 2 kills, but should fall. Ooh, nice micro.
And another drop coming in here. Maybe just looking for more Overlords for Losira to donate to the KeeN Fund right now.
1-1 massively ahead for Losira. I feel like that's the biggest advantage you can just take a look at this point in the game. And he keeps shutting this harass down. This medevac also very low, so KeeN needs to get that out of there. He can't continue to commit to this. And he's made actually so many more Hellions. He just kept making them for a while, even though he was consistently losing them. Dumping a lot of resources into that. Third CC now being landed, or at least attempted to land. These Lings might have something to say about that. This Hellion's in Hellion mode. Oh, you get spotted. That's going to cost him quite a bit of cast. Have to cancel all those.
We finally see the lair on the way for Losira. Looks like he just wanted to be very safe, you know, saturate all 3 of his bases and then finally get that lair up here. He's going to have the 1-1 finish. Pretty nice timing there with that lair. Going to get started on the rest of his upgrades here.
Yeah. All right, macro hatch going down. Losira's style often requires this. Ton of spores and even a spine collar in the main, just for that extra safety against drops ping-ponging around the inside. Almost like pinballing, I should say, with how the bases on this map work. We do see Overlord's speed coming out. It's going to help him against Widow Mines. Baneling speed, of course, a necessary upgrade to help deal, you know, just with this bio, especially with the positions here, you know, how quickly KeeN can reinforce at horizontal spawns like this. Spire going to come out. And again, he starts those upgrades for +2 very quickly after his 1-1 is finished. Ooh, this is slow Baneling run by.
Oh, man.
Actually gets way more than it should have. And Fastlings running in that Widow Mine. Does not stay on the threshold long enough for any of those.
Yeah. Trying to get some nice little run bys. So both players just trying to poke at their opponents. No real big damage coming through here. Looks like we're just going to have a straight up, you know, mid-game ZVT here. No big damage being taken from either player. KeeN committing to a very early push that really got no damage at all. So I call Losira's position right now pretty good. He's still going to be looking for that 4th base, and if you will notice, the 4th base is on this map is either that one that's really close to the turn, expanding towards the turn, or the one that currently has turn units at it, defending, waiting for a drone to come over here and try to make it a 4th base.
Yep. This location that you're talking about, exactly what we see on camera now, is going to be the expected one. KeeN is also doing a great job of trying to push this creep back and keeping a Widow Mine a bit close up here at the front. Maybe that was a bit too close. Very difficult to engage this part of the map with Terran units on the high ground there.
We're going to have Burrow finish up here for Losira. Maybe see some Baneling landmines out on the map.
Yep. And that Ling run by there does get shut down. We have a ton of supply deficit in this game, actually. Losira is massively behind supply at this point in time, which is always a scary, terrifying thing if you're a Zerg player. He just doesn't have an army. He has a good creep spread, but his Baneling count is quite low. And is he going to roll into this? Oh, no. Oh my God.
What? Turns out the hit wasn't fantastic, but still he loses all those Banelings. Great splits for the follow-up there from KeeN. That was a big chunk of Losira's army that he just kind of threw away into that Terran army.
That was almost all of his Banelings. Losira doesn't know how ahead he is because he can't look at the supplies like we can. He can't open the unit tab. But if he knew how few Banelings were on the map right now, he'd definitely be pushing a lot harder at this point. It's actually being quite timid, all things considered. Now starting to move towards his base. Now trying to get his army together. The creep spread here for Losira has been remade pretty consistently, so that's part of the reason why KeeN's having so much trouble actually continuing to push. And that Burrow is actually going to be used here, it looks like, to deny a 4th base of KeeN, along with that Overlord creep spread. Medevacs need to boost away. Does not want to lose those 2 expensive units.
Yeah, but at the same time, look at this. KeeN's going to be able to move forward, clean up a lot of this creep. And Baneling's even going to just roll into a bunch of Hellbats in the front. Not the greatest trades. Losira will eventually be able to clean up this drop, but a lot of his units are out of position.
And he's not capitalizing on it as well as he could because he's struggling to go up into this concave, up a ramp on creep. I feel like I feel like he's kind of running down the same path, but finding the same problems every time and not committing. So Losira is fine with chasing these units across the map because he knows that KeeN is not comfortable pushing up that ramp.
Ludamite not really burrowing here. Losira finding some nice damage, but KeeN again out on the creep, trying to clear it up once again. Oh, some burrowed banelings trying to find some damage, just barely out of the range of that scan, by the way.
Yeah. Notice he's going for Carapace for his Mutalisk. That's pretty interesting. That's one way to deny the creep. Mutalisk here having some trouble finding damage. A few of them do get shredded on their way out. I'm gonna come over here, get a few more SCV kills, but the reinforcements, as well as a few rallied Marines, are going to come and push this out. This is that pinball type harass I was talking about, now coming over to the third base. Like just a little bit more damage done. Yeah. All these Whittle Mines on cooldown.
Oh, man. One of them gets a decent hit. Second one, not so good. Another drop trying to come over here and deny the space. He's going to deny the gas at least. Which, by the way, Losira has taken both of, so committing to a lot of gas. Even both of the gases in the top left as well. Not sure if he's really mining from that. Can't tell. Doesn't look like it.
He's got just a few drones mining from the gas. Not only one of them, not the other one. Actually, no, he's only mining a few off the minerals, actually. He hasn't even put it into gas yet. But it's good to note, glad you pointed that out, that base is up and running now a little bit. Again, more Banelings trying to get some hits off. Had he gotten a bit further there, he could have done a lot more damage. He has plenty of Banelings to spare, though. This is Losira we're talking about here. He's never got a shortage of Banelings until he's typing GG.
It's true, but he can't keep throwing them away here. He's going to clean up a lot of the Widow Mines. May force KeeN back for a small portion of time, but at the same time, he lost so many Banelings with that attack.
KeeN is still not landed his fourth base. He's he's just like so concerned about controlling his army that he hasn't even gotten rid of that bird Zergling. Yeah,
Losira's done a great job of denying that for a very long time. Had many lings over there just threatening, you know, if a small amount of bio came over, he was always there to stop it. Even if I come over there, kill a turret. Yeah. This drop over here not going to do much. It's going to be cleaned up with a couple of banelings.
Scan does finally clear up the last of those lings on the left side of the map. I'm going to check and see if he actually landed that base this time. Okay, this time it's finally landed. Meanwhile, Medevac running into a Spore Crawler, just gives it up. This is a lot of very low health Marines, actually. Most of them are already almost dead, so gets pushed back there. Okay, this is the moment where maybe KeeN can finally get up the ramp with the Marauders leading the charge. 4 Banelings on the map. The rest of these starting to finish here. He needs them. Widow Mines.
He should have them in time. KeeN's just not really having much stuff at this moment in time. If you look at the supplies down heavily right now.
He just hasn't been able to defend his bases. He hasn't been able to hold on to a fourth.
Yeah.
And now he's totally got this watered-down army that is going to be pushed back.
Just kind of not the greatest multitasking. Also, like you said, taking way too much damage in some engagements. Not the best engagements here. And I think Losira just has enough now. He's taken very small engagements over and over again to just roll over KeeN. He's going to clear out the entire third base economy.
Oh boy, these bird Banelings.
Look at that top left base. Totally saturated.
Oh!
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to be it.
I think he's going to type out.
He's got barely anything left. He's down to 90 supply. Losira should be able to close this one out incredibly easily.
Oh, that Widow Mine shot could have been beautiful too, and it just wasn't.
Yeah.
This hidden base allowed, I feel, Losira to just continue to trade with his Banelings, even in poor engagements, because he was always fighting on creep. He's always going to find some damage. And he was like, no, I've got this extra base, I've got this extra gas. KeeN doesn't know. And he kept his Mules alive. They did a lot of damage to the SCV count. He just kept rolling his Banelings in, as Losira's want to do. And that's going to be the end here for KeeN.
Yeah. KeeN going to move now to 0-6. Kind of got the departure ratio from last season. Kind of that player on Prime that just never seems to win.
He's even just pulling a Marine King like his new teammate here to lift his building. Scan. GG.
So yeah, Losira just better play overall. KeeN never really finding much damage out on the map. He committed to so many drops that did probably the least amount of damage I've ever seen. He sent like 3 or 4 dropships, medevacs, over to the 4th base in the top right that killed the gas twice, I think.
Yeah.
That's about it.
That's pretty much all he was ever able to do. Keep in mind his attacks, his constant rally of units always ran into creep, and he didn't know what to do. He was very much not confident to engage there. He was never able to clean up the creep like he wanted to. Losira, very early on, 5 queens, very early Baneling. That's super safe against the apparent Hellbats, which were easy to spot just simply by the fact that he was committing so much to denying the scouting with his Marines. Even the Marines at the top that were trying to chase the Overlord, I'm pretty sure Losira saw those with his Overlord, even though they didn't find the Overlord. And so he's just like, no, I know what you're doing. I know what you're up to. There's a high chance of this. I'm going to be safe. I'm going to make the extra queens. I'm going to have the extra creep. And he had that extra basic game, enough gas to just keep throwing Banelings at the Terran army on creep.
Yeah. That's just what Losira was committing to the entire game. He was totally fine to just continue to trade over and over again because if you'll remember, he denied the 4th base of KeeN forever. And the 3rd base was very late because of that 2 base kind of all-in play, kind of cheesy play from KeeN that just got totally shut down. So from there, Losira knew he was way far ahead, and he just slowly got further and